Hi everyone, my name is Guillaume and welcome to a new episode of Hit the Tone. Hi everyone, I hope you're doing fantastic today. Welcome to this new episode of Hit the Tone. If you're not familiar with the format, I take parts of famous songs and try to give you all the tools you need to hit that tone. Please keep in mind that this is a recommendation-based format, so whatever song you want me to cover, just put it down there in the comment section and I'll get to you as soon as possible. While you're here, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel. And now that this is out of the way, let's jump into today's song, which was requested by Stanislav Migra, and that is Jungle by Tash Sultana. In that original bedroom performance, we clearly see them using a Fender Jazzmaster, which seems to me like being in the neck pickup position. That being said, they've used Telecasters live, all sorts of single coil instruments. So as far as the guitar setup goes, pretty much anything with a neck single coil will do. And doing so will take you from this sound to this sound. So yeah, as I said, any kind of single coil guitar with a neck pickup option will do the trick. I don't have a Jazzmaster, so this will have to do. But in fairness, it's going to be hard to hit the exact same tone, and we're going to get to why just right now with the amp and pedal setup. And this is where it's getting tricky because as far as I can say, either in the original bedroom performance, the NPR concert, all the other concerts that I could find, I'm fairly certain that they don't use an amp and they just go direct from the board into the loop station, into the mixer. So if you want to record the song or jam on it and want to go straight to your interface or PA, I think that's probably the closest you'll get to the original tone. But for the sake of that video, I'm going to keep using the amp and just set the EQ in the most neutral way possible. But the pedals are where it starts getting really interesting. First off, let's go with the reverb. Of course, you can either use the one from your amp, if it has one, or you can use a reverb pedal, which is what I'm going to do now with that GFI system, specular reverb, and add quite a lot of it. And that will take our sound from this to there. The reverb on its own will do for the first two layers of our loop, which we'll get to in a second. But on the third one, there's clearly a very long delay happening. And that will take that part from this to this. But finally, and most importantly, what you're going to need for that song is a looper pedal. I think they're using several in a row and several separate loop stations for several instruments, so that kind of ends up being a rather complicated installation, but you can easily do it at home with a single looper pedal. Right now, I'm using that loop station RC1 by Boss. And now that you have everything you need, let's jump onto the last section of that video, which is probably, certainly, the most important, and is how to play the song. This is a rather long and complicated jam with a lot of different looping layers, a lot of different instruments, so if I were to cover all of that, this video would probably be 2 hours long. For the sake of not doing that, I'm just going to cover the 3 first layers of guitar that you see in the intro. The first layer of guitar in that song is composed of 4 chords, which go as follow. D flat minor, onto B major, onto A flat minor, onto A major. And these chords are being played in a sort of a reggae style playing, so your right hand should look something like this. My advice to you at this point is do not go too intense too fast, because the main problem I encounter with loop station is levels. You want everything you play in the background to stay in the background and be able to have some wiggle room and add up on this. So maybe don't start with the volume on 10 on your guitar, but put it down to 7 or 8, just to make sure that that first layer remains underneath the others. Onto the second layer, which is going to be played on the E and B string of your guitar, and we'll just be fretting on fret 14 and 12 on each. And that looks something like this. Fairly easy to play to this point. The hard thing about looping, in my experience, is timing, and that's why you really need to lock yourself into that groove. Feel the first layer of the song before starting adding the other one, so you make sure that everything is locked in and coherent. Because that's what leads us to the third layer of that loop, which is a harmony on the second one, and that goes like this. So really just fretting at 17th and 16th fret on the E and B strings. If you're new to guitar playing, I'd suggest working all of these parts independently first before starting adding them together, which is what we're going to do now to lead to our final result, which is... Alright guys, that's it. I believe you have all the tools you need to hit the tone on Jungle by Tash Sultana. I hope you learned something and I hope you had fun learning that song. Please keep in mind that this is a recommendation-based format, so whatever song you want me to cover next, just put it in the comment section down below and I'll get to you as soon as possible. And while you're down there, please consider liking that video and subscribing to the channel. Until then, I wish you a fantastic day and I'll see you next Monday in a new episode of Hit the Tone.